Dear students, good evening everybody. Today we are going to study about more interesting concepts of observable universe. You know that this is our earth. Of course, it is a model of earth and this is called as globe. There is a simple question for you. If the radius of the earth is decreases, if the radius of the earth is decreased, you know the radius is around 6,400 kilometer, then what happens to the length of the day? Options are increases, decreases, remains same, or it stops rotation. I repeat, if the radius of the earth is decreased, then what happens to the length of the day? Increases, decreases, remains same, or it stops its rotation. Okay, to understand this, we are studying about this chapter, System of Particles and Rotational Motion. Dear students, I am in front of you just to explain difficult concepts. It is not your ordinary classroom teaching. I am going to present higher concepts in a simple manner. Well, so before starting this class, I want to make you to understand about the geometry of the objects. You please remember, this is a hollow sphere. This is not a solid sphere. And here we can say this is a sphere. It is also a sphere, but once again it is hollow, but it is made up of metal. First you understand what actually we are using the geometry here. The next one is this is called disk. This is the axis of the disk, and of course we can make this to rotate like this. Okay, fine. The next one is here you can consider metal bob. So this metal bob, it is nothing but solid sphere. So please remember, it is not hollow sphere, it is solid sphere. Can you give me one more example for solid sphere where you have observed? Well, you're right. So whenever you are kids, you play with the marble. You see, the marble, it is also a solid sphere. One more example. So you have observed the sports. The persons, they are throwing shot put. You please remember, shot put is a solid sphere. So one more example for hollow sphere is, you have seen the soap bubble. Soap bubble is an example for hollow sphere. Okay, you remember these things. Then, so that is we are studying about the system of particles and rotational motion. Here we have to observe what is rotational motion, what is rolling motion, what is a translational motion. So everything I will make it very, very clear. Good evening, students. You all know this is the model of the earth. The one of the example for model is globe. Globe actually is a model for earth. Well, now there is a very interesting question regarding this earth. If the radius of the earth is decreased, you know the radius of earth is 6,400 kilometer. Somehow imagine that the radius of the earth, it is decreased. Then what happens to the length of the day? The options are like this. A, increases, B, decreases, C, remains same, or D, the earth stops its rotation. Just think over this. I repeat the question. The radius of the earth is 6,400 kilometer. So if the radius is decreased, then what happens to the length of the day? The length of the day is A, increased, B, decreased, C, remains same, D, earth stops its rotation. Well, to get the answer for this, we are studying about this chapter, System of Particles and Rotational Motion. Let's understand what is particle. Word by word, I will explain. So particle is nothing but it is point mass. So point mass means an object which is not having a size but only the mass is called as particle. For example, nearest one is electron, you can take proton. They are called as elementary particles. Well, the next one is, what is body? What is body? An extended system of particles is called body. Or, in simple, a group of particles is called as body. So now we are going to study about rigid body. Okay. So it is here, before going to the rigid body, I will give some examples for bodies. You have seen the earth. Earth is made up of infinite number of particles. Therefore, body is made up of number of particles. So the next one is, you can see heavenly bodies such as moon, sun, etc. They are all called as bodies. So therefore, a system of particles is called as body. The next one is rigid body. A body which is having unchanged shape. Unchanged shape. Even after applying a force is called as rigid body. So the nearest example is, you take this iron rod. So if you, for small forces, there is no change in the shape of this body. Therefore, it is, we can treat this, so this as rigid body. Okay, fine. Now, so regarding the rigid bodies, I want to give some more examples. Here, you are seeing, so disc, this is called as disc. And also here also you can see a metal disc like this. And the next one is, you can see the spheres. Here there is sphere. And also here there is solid sphere. Now there is a question for you. The question is, can you quote some examples for solid sphere and also hollow sphere? Hollow sphere. Okay. So the examples are like this, because you have to understand the geometry of the objects. So solid sphere. A sphere in which inside it is a filled is called a solid sphere. So best example is marble. The another example is shot put. Okay. So hollows, and also for another example for this one, you have seen this. This is nothing but metal bulb. So it is also solid sphere, metal bulb. Hollow sphere. You see, this is a plastic ball. What you are seeing here, it is hollow sphere. So not only this ball, in cricket you have seen the tennis ball. So tennis ball is also hollow sphere. Tennis ball is also hollow sphere. Okay. So what about cork ball? Well, you are right. So cork ball, it is a solid sphere. So what about that? Soap bubble? Very interesting. Soap bubble, it is a hollow sphere. Soap bubble, it is a hollow sphere. Okay. Dear students, before understanding rotational motion, we should understand what is a translational motion. Translational motion. Okay, just I will show a simple experiment. You see, so this is a scale I am putting on a support. Then I will keep this duster on this one. Now you see the duster actually it is coming. Dear students, first we have to understand translational motion. This is a very simple experiment. You can observe here. I am putting the duster, and now you see it is coming like this. So it is called as translative motion. So I will write the diagram for this. What you have observed, it is like this. Let this angle it is theta. So what is translational motion? I will give more explanation for this. So whenever it is sliding, you consider two particles, like this is particle P1 and also you consider another particle P2. So you see all the particles are having the same velocity. If all the particles are having the same velocity, then that type of motion is called translational motion. So the other phase of the motion is, if the different particles are having different velocities, then that may be treated as rotational motion. So the example for rotational motion is, you have seen the fan, you have seen the grind wheel, you have seen the giant wheel, you have seen merry-go-round. These are all examples for rotational motion. Here all the particles are rotating about a fixed point or about an imaginary line that is called as axis. For example, you consider a disc like this. I will show you the things. Look here. This is a disc. And you see now the disc, all the particles, they are rotating about an axis. And this type of motion, it is called as rotational motion. So here different particles are having different velocities. That is the important difference between translational motion and rotational motion. So if a body is rotating about a fixed axis like this, then it is called as rotational motion. Okay, now you know for translational motion to produce, force is required, and according to Newton's second law, we are having F equals m into A, where m actually it is a mass and A it is the acceleration. And you please remember, more is the mass, more is the inertia, and more is the force required. Therefore, mass measures inertia for translational motion. So in inertia there are two types. One, it is called inertia of rest. Another, it is called as inertia of motion. So there is in translational motion, more is the mass, more is the inertia, lesser is the mass, lesser is the inertia. The same concept we are going to use here. Well, just to observe this body, this is a rigid body. Now you see all the particles are rotating with different velocities, linear velocities. So therefore, this is called as rotational body and the motion is called as rotational motion. To produce translational motion, force is required. Now the question is very interesting. To produce rotational motion, what is required? The requirement is torque. Then how to measure the torque? Whether torque is a scalar or vector. You please remember, force is a vector, similarly torque is also a vector. So now the torque, first we have to define this one. You take the radius of this circular disc. Let the radius of the circular disc, it is r. Now you have to apply a force tangential to this to move this one. So imagine that you are applying the force tangentially like this. Then it begins to move. I will show, practically I will show this one. There is here, there is the axis. You see, you are applying the force like this. This is tangential force. So now, this is the F here, tangential force. Okay, now what we have to do is, you take R cross F, it is a cross product. It is a cross product. So therefore, the torque, it is defined as the cross product of R and F. So it is a vector quantity and the direction it is given by a rule, it is right hand clasp rule. Just to observe, if this is rotating like this, then the direction it is like this. Suppose if the direction of rotation changes, if it is like this, then you see the direction it is inverse. So if you see the fingers, it is given by right hand clasp rule. So that is, if the fingers, they are showing the direction of rotation of the wheel, then the thumb indicates the direction of torque. Suppose if this is like this, then this is the direction of the torque. Torque it is given by R cross F. So this is a cross product. Therefore torque it is a vector quantity. It is also given by another rule. It is also called as right hand corkscrew rule. So for example, imagine a screw like this. So now what happens, if it is rotating like this, then the tip of the screw, if you rotate like this, so the tip of the screw, it moves in this direction. Therefore, if the disc, this circular disc, it is rotating like this, then this gives the direction of the torque. Therefore, torque, it is defined as the cross product of R and F. Here, R, it is the radius of the body, and F, it is a force. Very easily we can also understand by using vectors. For a moment, imagine that this is a plane. I will write the plane. So this is the plane for this. You just observe, very easily you can understand. Now this is the R. I am applying, so this is a force, it is tangential force. What I am applying is, you shift the force to here. If you shift the force to here, you see, and you please remember, so the vectors having the same magnitude, and if they are parallel, they are equal. Therefore, this is F. Now, so this R cross F, you have to turn the R. So actually R drives F. If R drives F, then that is a vector product, so quantity. That's why we are going to get the term like this. And you please remember, R and F, they are lying in the same plane. But tau, it is perpendicular to R and F. I will show it how actually it is. Just you observe. This is the R. Actually here there is F. So this F I am going to take like this. Now you see R cross F. R cross F. R and F are in one plane, and you see this gives the direction of the torque. Therefore, you please remember, torque actually it indicates, it is a vector quantity, it is a physical quantity, it represents how much force is required for rotational motion. So here it is for translational motion, the force required we are going to measure, but for rotational motion we have to use torque. So now we are studying about a beautiful quantity that is called as torque. Now where we are going to use this torque? In vehicles, whenever you are going to see the specification, for example, imagine that you are purchasing a new bike or new car. So you can see a torque. So they are going to say, so there is a torque, it is so much. So there is a 1500 Newton meter. You see the units, how beautifully they are putting this one. Newton is a unit of force. Meter is a unit of distance. Therefore, Newton meter is a unit of torque. And more is the torque, more is the pickup. What we are going to say pickup, so it is required if the torque is more. And the next thing is, so this torque actually it speeds up so quickly. So the speeding up of this rotational motion is measured by a quantity. It is called as torque. Okay. Now I will explain. So this concept according to the textbook. According to the textbook. Dear students, why you feel difficult in understanding textbook sentences? The reason is they are going to express all these things in space. In space means we have to take three axes for reference: x-axis, y-axis and z-axis. And you please remember, in space, no other force is acting. Even gravitational force is not acting. Electrostatic force is not acting. Magnetic force is not acting. Only we are considering the torque, required physical quantity. So there is here you consider three axes x, y, z. This is in the space you have to imagine. Now you see, this is a body which is rotating like this. So there is imagine that a force is applied like this. It is making certain angle. So there is first you consider this for a particle. So there is here there is a particle. Let the radius vector for this, it is r. Now imagine that a force is applied for this. You see, I will use the same colors. That is, let the F actually it is acting like this. Then no doubt, so the force F, it makes certain angle with the radius vector r. Let the angle made by this, it is theta only. Now you just extend this one. Extend like this. Okay. Now by using vectors, very easily we can explain this one. That is here also. Well, just to observe, we can take the components for f. This is f cos theta. We are not going to use this, but this is f sin theta. We are going to call this f sin theta as f perpendicular. F perpendicular. Okay. Now the next thing is, so this is r. You just drop a perpendicular for this one from here. You see, if I use blue color, very easily you can understand. No doubt, if this angle is theta, this angle is also theta. And here, this is r sin theta. By using the trigonometry we can prove, because sin theta is equal to opposite side divided by hypotenuse, and this is right angle. So the side opposite the right angle is called hypotenuse. You see, sin theta is equal to, it's very simple to understand. So r divided by this value. Okay, therefore, so there is this value, I am going to call it as, let O, P is a particle here, I am going to call it as Q. Then no doubt, OQ we have to calculate. So sin theta is equal to OQ divided by, so there is a hypotenuse, it is r. Therefore, OQ is equal to r sin theta. And we are going to call this r perpendicular. R sin theta is equal to r perpendicular. That is, r sin theta equals r perpendicular. Similarly, f sin theta is equal to f perpendicular. Okay, now we have to define torque. Already I told, torque is r cross f. Torque is r cross f. Now r cross f, it is given by the expression r into, so f into, so please remember it is a cross product. That's why I have to write sin theta. Therefore we can write, so torque it is equal to r into, f sin theta is f perpendicular. F perpendicular. Just to observe. So there is a f sin theta is f perpendicular. If theta is equal to, just to observe, theta is equal to 0, then sin 0 is 0. Then what happens, so the torque vanishes. If you apply the force along the radius, there is no torque. And the torque it is maximum when theta equals 90 degrees. Just to observe, when theta equals 90 degrees, the torque is maximum. That's why you please remember, if you apply the force, tangential force, then here the angle it is 90 degrees, then only the torque it is maximum. Okay, therefore, one of the relation is tau equals RF perpendicular or tau equals RF sin theta. The same thing we can also write, tau is equal to f into r into sin theta. You please remember, what I am going to take here, it is a magnitude. It is not so there is a vector, it is only a scalar. We are going to take the magnitude. So modulus means magnitude. So we can interchange these two since it is only magnitude. But always you have to write this as tau equals r cross f only. Now you come to this one, f into r sin theta. R sin theta is nothing but r perpendicular. Now you just observe, suppose if so theta is equal to 0, once again you see it will come like this. So therefore r will become 0 because it is acting at the center. If the same force, just you observe, theta becomes 0 means if the same force comes here, then the torque vanishes because theta is equal to 0. Therefore, under two conditions, the torque vanishes. Which are the two conditions? The torque vanishes. The two conditions are like this. Just to observe, I will show this one. You see, so we have to produce a rotational effect. If you apply the force like this along the radius, then there is no torque. If you apply the force along the radius, then there is no torque because theta becomes 0. So that is sin 0 is 0, torque becomes 0. The next one is, though you are applying the force and if you bring it to the center, then r becomes 0. You please remember, this is a tangential force. If you bring this to here, then r becomes 0. When r becomes 0, then also the torque vanishes. Under these two conditions, the torque vanishes. Now the next question is, so this is a three-dimensional concept what we are going to tell. It is actually it is a textbook diagram. I will make this very simple. This is a diagram. I will make it very simple. You see, this is a disc, what I have shown. The same disc, I am going to write it here. I am going to write it here. Now you just observe, you apply the same thing. So you see, for this one, if the force makes at an angle theta, then R equals or tau equals RF sin theta. So there is the force actually, the torque vanishes when theta is equal to 0 or the force is acting along the radius. The torque vanishes or torque becomes 0 when the force is acting along the radius. Well, suppose if the same force acting at the center, then R becomes 0, then also torque becomes 0. Now you see, so this is the direction what actually torque is acting. It depends upon the force and the angle made by the force with respect to R. Therefore, if theta equals 90, you please remember torque is maximum because sin 90 is 1. If theta equals 0, torque vanishes. If R equals 0, then also torque vanishes. So therefore, if the force equals 0, then also torque vanishes. Under these three conditions, torque is 0. First condition is, so if theta equals 0, torque is 0. If R equals 0, then also torque is 0. If the force is 0, then also torque is 0. Okay. Now, though it is making certain angle, certainly torque is acting. Now, if force makes certain angle, then the torque it is given by the expression tau is equal to RF sin theta. So theta you can take either 30 degrees, 60 degrees. So any angle you take except 0. If you take 0, then torque vanishes. And torque is very clearly it is understood maximum when theta is equal to 90 degrees. Now the next question is how to find the direction of the torque. You see, this is z-axis, y-axis, x-axis. Now imagine like this. You see, it is rotating like this. So whenever it is rotating like this, then what happens? You see the stick like this. So this gives the direction of torque. It is tau. It is given by a rule. It is called as right hand screw rule. Right hand screw rule. So suppose imagine that it is rotating like this. You imagine a right hand screw like this. Okay. Now if you turn like this, in the same rotation of this disc, then the angular moment, the torque actually it is going like this. So therefore tau, it is a cross product, it is given by R cross F. Well, students, where we are going to apply this torque? What is the use of this one? What is the use of this torque? You have seen the tailoring machine. You see, whenever tailoring machine is rotating like this, then so the tailor, he wants to stop the wheel. You see, he is applying the force like this. So if he is applying the force like this, means force into perpendicular distance, he is applying the torque, then the wheel it comes to the rest. Again, to make it to move, he is so there is a pushing like this. You see, he is applying the tangential force. This is one of the example. The another example is, you have seen the train brakes. Whenever train wheel is running on the rails, so they are going to apply the brake like this. You see, the brake is tangential. If you observe the fire coming there, so the direction of the fire is the tangential force. And if you take this as a radius, no doubt, so radius into force applied, it gives torque. So this torque helps in bringing a rotating body to the rest. On the other hand, the same torque also helps in making a body which is at rest, a rotating body which is at rest, to be in motion. Look here, now this is at rest. To make it to move, I am applying the force like this. Now you see, it is moving like this. This is the torque, what actually required. And in vehicles already I told, so if the torque is more, the pickup is more, and even heavy loads it can very easily pull. So therefore, for rotational motion, what required is torque, and this torque is analogous to the force in linear motion. So in linear motion, more is the force, more is the acceleration if the mass is constant. Similarly here, more is the torque, More is the angular velocity in case of the torque. Okay.